I think today we try and sort out this tree. I did just notice as well when I've now re-logged into this session. I accept the invitation to head to the creek. I didn't even see this one. I didn't know I was invited to the creek, but here we are anyway. A group of young people at the bridge are still preparing to enter the creek and are currently whispering to each other and giving you looks. Some of them are naked, others keep half clothed with pants or a shirt, more to avoid the gust of wind in anyone's eyes. Shoshi, who plays with her massive axe, speaks first. How about a little help? It's not easy to scratch one's back. Either I'd love some company, you have enough hands already, I want to wash myself and hit the road. Honestly, I think I'd be incredibly awkward. There's no way I would say I love some company. Admittedly, I think the other one sounds a little bit too cold. I'd just be... The real answer here is I'd be going, wouldn't I, Millie? That's what I'd be doing. But... You know what? Let's be jokey. I'd love some company. The Seven Souls encourage you to strip. Ooh. But don't wait for you. The splashes are followed both by chuckling and grumbling about the cold water. And once you join the others, you're neither ignored nor at the centre of attention. Playful nudges and submerging are indeed accompanied by helping each other with washing hard-to-reach spots. Ooh. And you find that the locals have surprisingly strong arms, proving they have many days of hard labour behind them. After a few active minutes, two male lovers compete against one another by swimming with and against the flow, comparing their speeds. The others spread along the banks, chatting about this and that. In a moment of silence, you decide to direct the topic slightly. So how do you feel about the creeks? Do you enjoy living here? What do you do around here when you have a free day? I think we all know that. How are your days? Any news? Or the water here is so lovely. How do you feel about the creeks? The answers vary. Shoshi plans to move to a different settlement. Another one hopes to see the lands beyond the peninsula. Two would like to start families here since they feel free and loved in their tribe, whilst the last two hope to still change some things out of place before they decide for sure. After a quiet moment, a short blonde male speaks to you gently. We weren't sure you'd be willing to spend time with such ribald folk. He's instantly interrupted by the others, who start to argue which one of them is more indecent. He then carries on. Aren't the city folk taught to be of humble gaze and silent breath? Like that missionary told us. Oh, the city folk are prudes. People go to small bathhouses and pay for their privacy. It's impolite to glance at a naked stranger. After the invasion, people had to share their space and are now used to bathing large numbers in the river, or at the common bathhouse. There isn't much touching though. I smile. You'd be surprised how many naked shells one may see in the city and touch. Or, it's tied to one's status, like everything in the city. The rich folk bathe in luxurious rooms and invite or pay for many lovers, while most people have rather humble experiences. I think this fourth one is the most realistic. The group exchanges telling looks. That's the saddest thing I've ever heard, says the woman with wavy hair. But one of the male lovers tells her to think about it. We may not judge each other for our trade or dragon bones, but there's reputation and memories. Wouldn't you say Svi has a poor status? Her eyes suddenly turn cold and a surprisingly serious conversation sparks right away, in the centre of which lies the difference between being unwanted because of one's deeds, or because of one's background. Great. I've ruined the orgy. Once the discussion slows down again, the group looks at each other and the skinny man with long limbs is the first one to speak. A round of dice? He gets out without waiting for answer, and the others follow suit. Where was he storing his dice? But what do we wager? Asks a brown-skinned woman with short hair. Apples? You fall into the grass and it seems like the others aren't even thinking of gathering their clothes. Seeing how quickly the dice find their way from the bag to the wide, short tree stump, you realise it's not much as a spontaneous invitation as part of an old ritual. I do have some fruits and veggies, let's play. I'll add some dried meat to the pile. I take a confident posture. Apples are fine, but if you can win, I'll give you a dragon bone. No need for a wager, let's play for fun. Hang on a minute. Do I have some fruit? I do. You know what? We'll play some fruits and veggies. Yes! The skinny man adds to your share of the prize pool, but the green counters half. In his bag, you indeed see mostly pears, plums, and other fruits. I can imagine you seeing a lot of pears and plums right now. You look at the light dancing on everyone's skin, but also their hair now shaken by the wind. The way the grass touches your own backside is a bit distracting. The group is mostly glancing at each other or gossiping, without paying much attention to the game. Shoshi once again holds her axe and looks at you, all the while humming a peaceful tune. The rules are new to you, but in no way baffling. 4 people can play at once. The dice are bone-made cubes with 6 dotted faces. Every time someone wins a round, they get a point, and the person with the most points at the end of the game wins all the coins. As you play, you don't feel like you have much control over the results. You know what? Let's try and learn as much about the game as we can. We don't want to try and win. We want to win, but we're not try-harding. We're learning right now. Interestingly, I could also flirt. Let's try and learn. Okay, I lost some wild plans, that's fine. The skinny coordinator is more than eager to discuss your moves, though you feel like he may be giving you less than optimal advice, especially once he finishes with the highest score. Still, the things he tells you, even those you can't completely agree with, are insightful, and you feel like they may be of use even in slightly different games. The conversation between you and the man is intense, while the others participate only so far as it takes for them to cast the dice. Once it's over, the youths decide to get back to their tasks, and the skinny man throws you your clothes. "Thanks for helping us get clean," says the woman with an axe on a naked shoulder, and the group chuckles amiably. I wish him a good day. Okay, Ella? About the Eastern Path? Oh, it's too late to go to the fallen tree. Cock. Okay, we're gonna have to wait for some time then. Let me go and see if my fish are here. Nope. So we've done your tunnel. I guess we just go to Gale Rocks and wait around. Because there's nothing else I really need to do here, so I guess I'll wait till the evening. I can sleep for free now, that's wonderful news. Okay, now we travel up to the creeks. And Ella, I'm ready. I'm ready to help you with the fallen tree. He springs up and leads you to the square. Gather folks for the wood cutting, he orders the children and waves to the adults to gain their attention. He looks at you with a smile. We have sharp axes, full stomachs, spare wheels, and he can leave you mount at a creek. Nothing like a day of grazing, napping and shitting, aye? Sure. Without waiting for your response, he addresses the approaching souls. None of them are older than 30. I approach shadowing and scratch its neck. Don't worry, I'll be back soon. After a few minutes, the crowd gathers next to the bridge, organising their simple carts and wagons that are held only by ropes, joints and leather straps. You notice that one of them carries a pile of a few bulky sacks, so you ask Shoshi, with a massive axe, about their contents. Just food, friend. She's looking at you with excitement, moving her hips to an inaudible melody. What's on wheels light as a feather? No need to hunt in the woods. To illustrate her point, she throws a tool into the cart next to her. Ooh, you know what, just in case I keep my axe at my belt. It doesn't take long for the sounds of the wheels and boots to cut through the songs of birds and insects. Your loud journey is accompanied not just by the sound of trampled and kicked rocks, but also conversations of the woodcutters who are spread around without many worries. You cross the thin gorge where Ephron, the hunter, is waiting on the side of the road. He stands still, looking around like a gate guard from the city, but once you get closer, he joins you with an excited look and light steps, shaking the wolf's head. Don't worry, friend, you may be here to protect us, but my destiny is to keep you breathing to the very end. You seem happy to leave the village. Oh, I've been around. He reaches for his obsidian club and swings it left and right, trying to both move forward and demonstrate a few defensive stances. But there's always more to see, and a land as wild as this one changes with every season. You move past the tavern and head south, where you encounter Ilin and Svi, the foragers. They move through the meadows with long sticks in hand and baskets on their backs, seeking food in the meadows, while also scaring away any potential snakes. Once they notice your expedition, they run up the road where the large man asks the others about health than days. After a few minutes, they reach you and Ephron. You look both like a flock of vagabonds and a squad of guards, with all these axes and spears, says Ilan. Weird to see you all in one place, without the walls to hide you, crude as they are. This catches my interest. The palisade isn't that bad, or how's today's hunt going? Ilan, careful as usual, reaches for his throwing club and makes a slow throw-like gesture. His polished and lacquered weapon shines in the sun. I hit the blue grouse. He didn't have a chance. Svi scoffs. Aye, on the third try! But his companion ignores it. And we have a few snake eggs and a good dinner awaits us. After that, they mostly speak with Ephron about the mouflon he recently delivered to them. Then turn back before you get to the stone statue, wishing you a safe journey. It's nice to see the people are relaxed. I continue chit-chat with the hunter. I sigh. A hostile path ahead of us. Be sure to look at the bushes. No, let's keep relaxed chit-chat right now. The farther away you get from the foraging ground, the more quiet the tribesfolk grow. The hours of wayfaring are getting to your legs, and the atmosphere grows tense as some of your weaker companions are asking to be pulled on the carts for at least a few minutes. Ephron looks behind then at you. Do you ever sing in Hovland during work? His words are so loud you have no doubt that the rest of the group also heard him. Our songs are a bit more tame than the ones from the villages. Some themes sound too awkward when the priests are allowed. We still remember the tunes from before the war. The city folk find strength when they hear tales of the 10 cities. We sing songs of the sea, sailors bring them to fishers and dockhands, and it spreads from taverns to homes. That seems reasonable. Oh no, it would slow down the labourers. I think the sailors bring them from the seas. How did it go? You recognise Shoshi's voice. You start with your favourite shanty. Way up she rises, way up she rises, way up she rises early in the morning. What do you do with a drunken sailor? What do you do with a drunken sailor? What do you do with a drunken sailor early in the morning? Way up she rises, way... Okay, you get the drill. Leading the group through the quick, repetitive melody is a lead. Lead? Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the... What's it say? The voyage is long and the winds don't blow, so it's time for us to leave her. Then giving them time to repeat the last few words. Once everyone learns how to follow the one that replaces you, giving you your poor throat some rest. Honestly, I'm just getting started. But also adjusting the words slightly. Ships turn into boats, krakens into dragons. It's hard to tell anymore if the song's about missing home from the waves of the ocean or being lost in the woods. This is how stories grow. No, they can bastardize the song all they want. They can parody it. I don't care. We can eat here, declares the hunter as you approach the watchtower, and asks the people behind him to spread the news. The carts and travellers gather in the middle of the crossroads, forming a defensive circle, while some of the folks unpack food rations. Before you sit down on the grass, Ephron hands you a humble set of pears and cold roasted meat, then steps away with a smile. After what I've seen yesterday, pears and meat, we have to be a little bit careful. Is this a proposition again? You hear him entering and exploring the tower. Once he gets back, he triumphantly raises his sharpened cudgel. If there's one spot on the eastern path we need the most, it's this one. You understand. The wolf's head drops on his back, so he adjusts it, and with your help, the tower is ours. The locals may not be too eager to give the tower back to the city's soldiers, or I smile back, that's right. You know what, I'm going to consider his words here, just to make sure that he thinks about it. Some of the tribesfolk wander a bit further away, searching the tall grasses for food, as if their habits are stronger than fear. But after the hunter orders them to regroup, they stay disciplined. After a short break, the expedition starts to restore its previous shape, while you and the hunter leave them behind, scouting ahead. The overgrown path twists between the hills and bushes. This route has issues much larger than the fallen tree. Your companion's voice is tired and quiet. 2, maybe 3 more years and it will be safe to block it completely. Both of you reach for your blades when a sudden cry comes from down the road. It resembles an ape, a young troll, or a human tormented by visions. It lasts for a few breaths and ends as abruptly as it started, but isn't followed by an attack or even footsteps. Stay here. I crawl my way uphill and observe the area through the shrubs. You push away the leaves and once again hear the cry. It comes from one of the goblins gathered at the side of the road, none of which looks in your direction. Their thick furs in shades of brown and black make you realise that you've encountered the very same pack in this area before. Most of them stand still and in silence, either on all fours or using their crude sticks and clubs to remain upright. Two, however, are hitting the ground with their fists and shaking the empty shell of yet another goblin, an elder covered with grey fur, whose upper half is leaning against a tree, while the bottom half is a few feet away in a puddle of blood. The guts spilling out of its stomach don't suggest a promising diagnosis. You get back to Ephron, who's too focused on his cudgel to adjust the tilted wolf's head. So, goblins, more than a dozen, they're mourning their dead leader, or a small pack of goblins is too stupid to realize their leader is dead. No, they're mourning their dead leader. So it's been wailing. I didn't know they cared. I mean, they get caught by beasts as often as we do. He then frowns as if his words make him unsure, but after he shakes his head and adjusts his hat, his confident self returns. Well, there's more of them among the trees, keeping watch. Let's gather a fair group of fighters and strike them first. Agreed. You know who to pick, and it won't take long before the pack is crushed. Or what? There's no need to hurt them. They'll flee from all loud wheels. No, we're going to crush the goblins. I don't think we can give mercy to goblins. I'm going full Goblin Slayer mode now. They're just little evil mini demons. Once everyone's ready, the battle takes not even a minute. The hunters, foragers, and woodcutters may not be experienced soldiers, but their light equipment allows them to get close to the pack, and once they're noticed, their long, sharp spears and axes make their charge devastating. A few of the beasts, unaware of the scale of the threat, die before they can even land a single hit, while the rest of them drop whatever they were holding and disappear amongst the leaves, too nimble for any human to catch up with them. A few of the tribesfolk are searching the area, removing goblin tusks from their jaws, and pushing the corpses deeper into the bushes, so they won't get caught in the wheels. Ephron takes a look at the weapons, but decides to only keep what seems like a human-made axe head and a rusty dagger. Anything worth picking up? Not really. The furs smell like shit. He considers handing you the dagger, but you realise its worth is negligible. All of it needs some extra work. I'll tell Ella to pay you another dragon bone once we're back. He then orders his people to tell the carts and wagons to regroup, and you step away from the blood that reaches your boots slowly. Make sure no one's left behind. Okay, I will admit, this area slightly concerns me. I wonder if I didn't solve this correctly the first time, and I'm gonna lock myself out of this, but if that's the case, I'll accept it. I feel like I maybe could have moved on to another location had I got it right. But who knows? That's not too bad, says Shoshi as she reaches the falling tree. It's thin, we can surround it. The workers divide the tools and use the carts and wagons to form a barricade, explaining that they'll move them once again when it comes to loading timber on them. You prepare your own belongings when you notice that the tribe awaits your commands. You can start whenever you're ready. I'll keep an eye on our surroundings. The broken wagon is the first task that the workers take care of. The few dozen souls that arrived here would be enough to simply push the tree to one side, and what would be an exhausting task for less numbers will take them little time. You use the crags to observe the area, moving around without haste. The distracting noises of your group scare away many creatures. The eyes that observe you are mostly spread amongst tree crowns and the highest points of the hills. You spot a few ibexes, monkeys, and many birds, but no cats, runners, dragonlings, or wolves. I miss sitting in the saddle. The swords and axes split the tree in a few spots at once, while the less experienced members of the group trim the branches and carry loads of wood, until they're asked to replace the exhausted woodcutters. Then the work slows down, but never stops. And while the constant noise finally lures the presence of a small dragon that's walking on four legs, each one as large as a human, seeing your large group makes it turn back, even though you would most likely be unable to pierce through its skin. After another few hours, no one has enough fortitude to start another conversation. Once the carts and wagons are ready, the crew demands a half-hour break. You can't really avoid it. The road back is rough. The heavy blocks of wood require the dragging crew to take turns every few minutes or so, hoping that no one will be pushed to exhaustion. Crossing the bridge is the worst part. Lifting and dropping the vehicles is too dangerous for the primitive wheels, and one of them breaks, needing to be replaced on the spot. One of the foragers finally proposes heaping up soil into temporary, gentle slopes, which once again takes a lot of time. You and Ephraim sit down at the stream bank observing the water. Let's hope we can reach the tavern before nightfall, he states simply. They're so exhausted that seeking an answer takes you a little bit of time. I look at the workers. You could use a better bridge, maybe one made of wood. Oh, not where there's a string go, we know where it goes. You could use a better bridge here. Keeping it fixed would take many dangerous journeys. I'd rather see a proper bridge made of stone, but the folks at Old Pagos haven't made one in however long they've been around. He leans back, putting the weight of his back onto his arms and observing the darkening sky. So maybe one day, when we have enough savings to buy the materials ourselves. Once you're ready for the rest of the journey, you really don't feel like getting on your feet. Almost there. You know what, let's try and be positive. I've already agreed to the amount. There's no point moaning about it. Foggy and her crew welcome you at the gate with their few table, benches and chairs moved outside the palisade, inviting everyone to sit down and eat, though more than half of the crew has to sit down on the wagons. Two of the foragers refuse the meal, instead of laying on the soft grass. You all get a bowl of warm stew, heavy in fat with snake eggs placed on top of a piece of a pheasant meal. The vegetables are properly seasoned and juicy, though you'd love to have an extra pinch of salt. The worst part of the road is behind you, and while people remain quiet, they eat with enthusiasm. The tavern keeper approaches you and Ephraim. It may be dark, but you feel as if she's covering you with devouring shadow. Well, loves, how's the road? Worth the effort? I try to keep the conversation going. While the hunter sighs, too tired to say a word, you indulge her appetite for gossip. You describe what you've seen, and as she scratches her large chin, she seems unsure what to say. So the real gloom is behind the tower, but even before it we'd need more work. You chit-chat until Ephraim starts to wake up the napping workers with his boot. I smile at her. No time to waste, I guess. We did it. Saved. A woman with a big axe crosses the gorge with laughter, and the expedition leaves the carts and wagons in front of the bridge. Seeing how dark it is, you're not surprised to learn the unloading will occur after dawn. Not like anyone's going to steal it, says one of the foragers, though everyone makes sure to take the remaining food rations. We were lucky, but let's not tempt the beast, says the hunter. The rest of the tribe welcomes your group from the open gate, and relieved laughter fills the little village. They seem surprised to learn that no one got seriously wounded. Ella and Ephraim share a brief embrace, but the carpenter doesn't hesitate to mention the hunter's smell. You realise you also need a long bath. If they betray me now, I'll kill them all. What the fuck is that response? Time to collect my reward. The carpenter reaches for a lit torch and asks you to follow him. I meant to pay you one more dragon. So be it. I'd pay 4 times as much for keeping everyone safe. You did a good job, friend. He opens the wooden cask and counts down the piece of the bone. Tell me, Andalone, what do you think? How's the road? You now know how a merchant may feel on it. It's shit, you need a year-long Roadwarden or a group of soldiers. It's empty but beautiful, even the old abandoned structures. You realise I've seen many roads. There's nothing unique about this one. Protect it and it'll be safer, neglect it and it will be lost. The fourth one seems the most sensible. He gives you a long look and finally nods. His lips are pursed until they shape a sad smile. You're right. It was just one of many days in the wilderness for you. I often forget that there's a vast world outside of the peninsula. Maybe we can shape this small scrap of land with our hard work. I wait patiently. The carpenter pauses for a long while, then starts to draw an invisible map on the workbench with his fingers, muttering to himself. Yes, he says slowly. You've already done more on the road than I've expected, friend. I dare say more than any outsider in this generation. The tribe can take it from here. He reaches for something resting on a log beneath the table, then turns toward you. You already received your pay, but maybe you'd like to take a hair pelt as a gift. Foggy doesn't need it, but you'll get a dragon or two for it in another village. You take a look at the fine fur and roll it into a more mobile shape. Seeing how Ella observes you, you tell him to just ask. I can't figure out what pushed you to be this much of a help to us, friend. I know some of the things you've seen were just on your path, but others took a true risk. Creek's a lovely place, I hope it succeeds. I smirk. I have my reasons. Your pay was fair and I needed it, or it's just what a road warden ought to do. It's what a road warden does, baby. You speak as if you're from old Pagos. He rests one hand on his stomach and reaches out to you with the other one. It may just be another day of work for you, but come here another spring or later, you'll see a real change in the peninsula. I shake his hand, I'm sure I will. Or I pretend to be focused on the pelt. If I'm ever around, I'll be sure to see how it's progressed. No, I'll just shake his hand and say, I'm sure I will. Nice, we've done the eastern path. His large hand is calloused and even a brief touch is enough to notice the cuts and chopped off skin. Signs of his amateurish labour. I doubt you'll find much more work to do on this route, but if I turn out to be wrong, let me know. He sits down on his stool and looks at his tools. Okay, so I have just finished the eastern route. Ella, tell me what happened 10 years ago, by the way, baby. I do, Andalono, I do. The voice is close to a whimper. But can't you see I'm in pain? I beg you, let me die with this shame. Aren't we friends? His hands are clasped on his stomach, putting pressure on it, as if he's trying to stop some visible bleeding. Stop it. Deal with your shame by being honest with me. Or fine, friend, keep it to yourself. No. I've done all this shit for you. I have been paid for it. Sometimes, not enough. I want this information, though. It's important to my roadwardening skills what the history of this place was. He bites his lower lip and looks away. Troll piss and shit, Roadwarden, fine. He stands up pointing at you with his clenched fist, suddenly filled with a spirit you've never seen before. What do you want me to say? That I was there, as well as my parents, and parents of others from our village? That Feist wanted to make an example of Steep House, and told us to either help her or be next in line. He spreads his arms. I, the great uniter of the North. We went there with her myrmidons, okay? Left us and hunger behind, and the beast herds came after us, angry for the burnt and cut trees. Too bad once that happened, no soul wanted to deal with a two-faced weasel, his voice cracks. We cut the flesh of innocence to save our own, and we got nothing from it. You flinch when he raises his hand and moves towards you, even though his gesture is not so much as an attack, as a way for him to let out some of his fire. Seeing your reaction, he slows down, but that only makes his voice louder. You already knew all of that, didn't you? And you just had to test my last wits for your games. What do you think you'll take the blood from my blade and wake up that fucking boy? Other people in the yard cease their work and observe you. You hear a child crying. I raise my voice. I didn't know you'd killed anyone, Ella, but you're lucky that you face no consequences even if you deserve them now, so step away. You're the victim, not a villain. Vice would have struck them with or without you, and maybe kill you as well. But you're alive, and you tried to put your life to good use, or I tried to speak quiet. I wasn't there. I have no clue what you went through. Maybe you deserve your pain, maybe not. I won't judge you. So it was all Vice. So this sounds very much like what she wanted to do with the White Marches, the Whit Marches, as she calls them. That she wanted to get together all the other, camps, the other villages, the other settlements, and attack them. But why did they want to attack Steep House? Okay. So I don't think it's the first one. That's not going to be my answer. You know what? I don't want to say you're the victim. I think it's the third one. I just tried to stay quiet. I wasn't there. I've no clue what you went through. Maybe you deserve your pain, maybe not. I won't judge you. He looks at you through his tears, then raises his head, absently staring at the clouds. Aye, you weren't there. My eyes and hands are cursed, but... He looks at the gathered crowd, then at you again. They're not alone. He turns around and lurches into the building with his tools. The sad looks of others still follow you, but the life returns slowly to the small village of the Creeks. Having discovered the truth, you could force the people of Hallsdale to confront their past, though they may not take kindly to your threats and requests. The more you'll learn about their deeds and conflicts, the more tools you have to use against them. If they will listen to me at all. Oh. Interesting. Right. I can get back to Foggy's. Wonderful. I can get back to Foggy's? I know, they don't want my services. Why am I not allowed to travel? Oh, is it because I have to seek shelter? Oh, it is just nighttime. Oh, I can just go there for free. Okay, that's fine. I was going to say, that's a little bit shit of the game to... Basically, as soon as I could have got there, other than staying at Foggy's, it basically just abandons me there. Actually, I don't even know why I'm going inside. So hang on a minute. What have I got now? I think at some point I'm going to have to deal with this central road. It might even be coming up soon. Because I've kind of tied up most of the issues around here. I kind of want to go to that Riverside turn again as well. I think I'm going to just slowly work my way around the map again. Why is it asking to... Oh, it's... We didn't actually sleep, sorry. Do I want to rent a room? Sure. I have 17 dragons. And I'm missing a bit of health. Ah! You're in a labyrinth of alleys in Steep House, which shifts after every step. You wander by the blooming gardens, burning houses, laughing newlyweds, cut-off limbs, fresh hair pies, chewed bones, carts loaded with barrels and falling trees. You're sitting at a table in front of the Ape Ale Inn, surrounded by laughing skeletons. Vice, naked, and covered in blood and ashes, holds your hand, forcing you to stuff your mouth with raw meat from a bottomless bowl. Every bite, tasting like the metal of an old key, burns your mouth, but you can't scream. Your unyielding grasp brings pain and delight in equal measure, and you wouldn't dare to try and escape it. The smoke coming from your roasting flesh starts to fill your eyes, but they have no tears to spare. You wake up and reach for a water skin so you can rinse the ash from your hand. It takes you a few heartbeats before you realise where you are. Those monsters, if there was any justice in the world, they would face the gravest punishment. The villagers wouldn't have agreed to it if they knew what was to come. Thais lied to them, and she's the one who bears the responsibility. Or, I've only seen one side of the story. I'm sure the people of Howlers felt they were justified, and things just got out of control. Or another stupid dream, I'd go back to sleep. I need to hear their side of the story. I think Thais is actually, you know, possibly one of the great evils of this continent. But I need to know. Maybe they were doing something, because we weren't really told why they were attacking. Like, Ella just said to basically show them. It was almost like a show of force. I just want to confirm if that is the case. Actually, hang on a minute. While I'm here, sorry. Give me one of my meals. Alright, I'm done. Oh, so the next job. Can I do something else? Ah, she sighs and nods towards a wooden cask that's under the table. It's not large on your stomach. I was planning to ask you to take it to Wet Marshes, but I guess that won't happen now. It's a mighty fine, strong cider. Brewed it myself if you wish so. I can sell it to you for, well, maybe 4 dragons. It's worth more, but you won't last long. Until the winter at best, you could try selling it somewhere else. Absolutely! That could be a good gift. Also, can we talk about this now? Steep House, aye. It keeps coming back to me. The poor little place. Those ruins that used to be the richest village in the north. Placed so close to the pass through Hag Hills. Perfect for traders and travellers. Her eyes show sorrow. They cared about the southern road, unlike the hunters from Pelt. They farmed, look after their forest, garden, and yet... She looks away and puts a thumb on her scarred lips. They would have done better spending their dragons on a proper wall. Not that pitiful palisade of theirs. They were inviting monsters. Okay, thanks. Alright, we need to go back again. I'm a little bit spooked though. I think we buy the axe first, if I can. Please, let me travel. Any fish? Nice. I set the trap again. I'm fully expecting this one to be dead, by the way. Tis what it is. Right, still no fruits here. God, do I have enough dragons to buy? Ah! Okay, let me wait on that a second. God, I need 3 more dragons. You know what? We're gonna stay here then. Oh, no, I can't. I'm gonna wait till the evening. I'm gonna sleep here. Get some more rest. Then... Oh, 2 dragons, really? Work for the guard. Come over here. Can I sell my fish, or do you need something else? Oh, I've only got a single fish. I can't sell it. And he wants the cider. Forget it. Alright. That's annoying. Yeah, I thought it would be. Set the trap again. Alright. It's a little bit dull, but I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to wait again. Sleep. Because I can just stay here indefinitely, I guess. Leave the square, offer my service to the guard to work for 3. Now I can go and buy the axe. So now I've got a better axe, right? A steel axe that you purchase from Howl's Dell. It's sharp as can be, well balanced and light. Wonderful. Can I sell my other axe? Oh, I can sell the hair pelt. It gives it a long look. Where do you get it from? In creeks. You didn't say. His long fingers brush the hair of the dead creature. They're learning. We buy furs from Pelt, but 7 rings? Forget it. We aren't getting any younger here. I potentially will sell that, but let me just see if I can get any good use out of it. Okay, you know what? Now that I've got the ale, actually, I say I do all this. I will have this big meeting with Howl's Dell at some point. But let's not do it just yet. Let me go to the other tribe, the tribe of the Green, whatever it's called. What are you called? Green Mountain tribe. Let's see what they have to say about any of this. Also, I want to come back here again. Ah, there's nothing here anymore. Okay, I think I may have lost a quest line going this way. I don't know. Maybe I can pick up again in the center. Who knows? Okay, take me back to the tribe of the Green Mountain then. I show my possessions. Do any of these interest you? Oh, they'll take my brand new battle axe as well. No, you can take the cider. You explain what the cask contents are. Boiling it won't stay fresh for long. Though you don't know how to say cider in the old speech. So instead call it a sweet apple bear, pointing at the tree behind you. A few of the locals are greatly interested in taking a whiff, but you explain it's not possible. We rarely make hard drinks in the mountains, admits the sovereign rider. We can agree to such a gift. Very well, take it. She gives you a few minutes to pack up your belongings. Your beast will be safe in here, she says confidently. We have enough meat, hides, and muscles. We won't rob you. Let it graze. After you tether Shadowmane to a tree, keeping it away from most garden patches, you head to the cave mouth. The corridor goes down, getting darker after only a few steps. But seeing how often the locals go through it without any source of light, you doubt there's going to be many treacherous steps ahead of you. Still, your guide leaves the shed with a lantern made of old brass, with windows engraved with winged dragons circling around an erupting volcano. I grab my own lantern. Alright, still pretty goddamn dark in here. The tongue sticking out of the entrance doesn't go on for long. For some time, you descend gently, then encounter a set of spiral stairs. Once you reach the bottom, you find yourself in a labyrinth of tunnels and chambers. Some of them sunk in darkness, others lit by campfires, with smoke leaving through holes in the ceilings. Spread amongst them are dozens of children and elders, but also workbenches and other spots worked by adults, some of them too busy to even spare your look. There are woodworkers, water carriers, potters, flour millers, cooks. You hardly notice how stuffy the air is down here. Seeing the consistently spacious corridors conveniently wide enough for even a beast shell to squeeze through them, you can't tell how many, if any, of these passages were not made by human hands. The entire walk takes you only a few minutes, but the sheer amount of rooms you walk by makes you lose your way many times before you reach a short path leading to a bright, warm chamber, to which the Saurian rider invites you with a gesture. You smell smoke and humidity, and as you listen, the humming of a stream reaches you from below. Much louder are the cries of an infinite, amplified by an echo. I put away my lantern and enter the chamber. The simple huts are short enough for you to see their hide-covered roofs from above, and as you look at the ceiling, there's no water dripping on them. They don't offer much privacy either. Even if the entrances were covered with a curtain, the gaps between the bones let you peek inside. It's as if they one day collapsed here from the surface, losing their purpose but remaining as a relic of the old way of living. While the huts are only filled with furs and a few pieces of clothing, the chamber is far from empty. A few women, some of them very young, some in their 30s or 40s, are sitting around the campfire, feeding infants or playing with toddlers. There's a man stretching a piece of leather on a tanning rack, and you hear splashes of water coming from a corner. When your eyes land on two people sitting in a circle over wooden stumps, their gaze makes your destination clear. A step closer. They are sitting a few steps away from one another, and as you're invited to sit down, the three of you form a triangle. The air is heavy, but you smell no sweat or dirt, and aside from the crying child and echoes of distant play and conversations, the dancing lights and crackling wood are no less cozy than an inn in the evening. The man in his 50s is leaning forward, resting his elbows on his thighs, more like a tired guard than a distinguished ruler. He's dressed just as heavily as the people you saw on the surface, but the fabric of his clothes is so dark blue that it's almost black. He's barefoot, and you wonder if that's enough to not make him sweat under the layers of wool. His helmet, shield and sword are resting on the ground. His long grey hair freely surrounds his face, which is covered with wrinkles and scars. Some beast was lucky enough to leave a mark deeper than that. The man's nose is missing, leaving a disfigured hole. The woman could be 25 and has absent eyes that are roving over your outfit, equipment, face and hands. She's dressed much more humbly than the man. Her tunic and pants are undyed and short enough to reveal her calves and forearms. Ooh! She has unevenly cut short black hair and a yellow kerchief that's hanging from her neck, lazily thrown over her back. Oh, she's dressed very saucily. Her legs are stretched out in front of her, resting on the heels of her sandals and swaying left and right. Spread just above an unfolded sack, covered with gemstones, pebbles and animal bones. She keeps her hands on the nearest trunk. Wink wink. Desperate for something to support her back. Both of them are unusually pale, but the woman looks almost sick. I introduce myself. You speak in the old speech and the man smiles. Let's use City tongue from now on. Or shaman. He looks at the young person in the light outfit. I taught her what I know, but we both need to practice. She frowns and waves a hand in front of her nose as if there's a fly there. Hello. Her voice is both delicate and annoyed. Shaman Gaian. She struggles to utter. Gaian, that's what we're going with. The man stares at you, speaking more confidently, and with a greater familiarity of the sounds he uses. And I'm Cephas, the chief of the tribe of the Green Mountain. Your gift bought you our time, but with busy lives. I try to get used to that dialect. Who sends you, Andalono? Again, I'm going to be friendly. I speak softly. No one. As a road warden, I wanted to be sure you don't need my help. Cephas' voice grows colder. Do we look as if we need one's help? Do you see cracks in our walls? I can't be sealed without your blood or monsters you can sing to sleep. Gaian reaches for 2 green gems and puts them on the edge of a fabric side by side. Don't get angry. Her voice is close to a whisper and seems to ease the ire in the chief's gaze right away. When she looks at you, she keeps her hands in front of her, palms up. Does your soul speak of pride or of care? Can't see it. But we're good as is, and ask you to trust our mouths to ask for us if we need them to. Listen, I'm looking for Asterion. He was here, and a few times. With every word, Cephas' voice gets quieter, as if he's not sure how to continue. We helped him, for it gave us a grand promise, and a sign of his trustworthiness. Brought back a sought out to be lost into woods. Brought back a sought... Oh my god, this dialect. So it's brought back a soul that was lost in the woods, I think. But it's almost a season since we saw him. That Sauron I saw outside, it used to belong to Asterion, am I right? That's correct. Cephas' approving eyes contrast with the threatening look of his nose, and his voice is warm. Where he was heading was no place for a beast that doesn't swim well, so he asked us to look after it. And also, he was afraid of the unicorns. After you mentioned that you doubt having fewer teeth would help someone deal with such a monster, Gaian chuckles, then bites her lower lip, showing her unusually long canines. You'd like to cut the skin of a spirit of havoc. City folk think that unicorns are but a battering ram, yet I are our own soul carriers, led by judgment, not anger. I eat grass and shoots, not flesh, and when not with cars, listen to kind tales and prayers. The chief nods. It was wise of him not to take with him a bloodthirsty Saurian. It won't learn when to bow, for it only thrusts only its own muscles and fear. Can we talk about High Island? We can, but no soul of our tribe has been there in generations. Even a gentle frown changed the chief's scarred face greatly. We won't return there while the cities remain threat. Would it matter to you if I were to land there? The chief answers slowly with a night-cold voice. We'll cut any limb at so much as touches our homeland. Ah. Why don't you want me to land there? What good could it bring us? The chief leans back, as if there's nothing to talk about. After a few breaths, the shaman chips in. We'll enter the island like a traveller returning to their bed. Eyes of the city folk see not our homeland, but our failed search for iron. Eyes of other tribes see our lost treasures not as our soil, sky and brains, but only as belongings to grab and sell. Our friends help us keep an eye on the island, and if anyone breaks our rule, we'll be ready to swim there and stop their greed. But it's no longer a home to any human soul. What is the story of the island? Gaian smiles and starts to speak in the old speech, as if she's repeating the same tale for 100th time. Then chuckles. Once she shifts to the city tongue, she struggles at some point, but Cephas provides her with words and phrases, or fills the gaps on his own. The Green Mountain, the life-giving volcano in the centre of the island, had been home to the tribe for longer than anyone can remember, as were older than any of the 10 cities, though you doubt there are any ways to verify such a claim. The shaman spent a good few minutes describing the days of their ancestors. Through hardship, they managed to tame enough land to grow vegetables, and made a great chunk of the island their forest garden. After finding the iron and copper veins, they had enough tools and weapons to save their offspring from backbreaking labour. She's also eager to describe the deeds of many families and heroes, and the unique herbs with their beautiful names, but the chief asks to move on. For most of its existence, Hovleven avoided the island, finding hardship in getting close to it. And since the pagans were reluctant to accept dragon bones, the merchants saw little value in the wares. However, once the tribes of the peninsula noticed the growing supply of alloys used by the island folk and their fishers, the news reached the city. A little more than 200 years ago, the officials tried to negotiate a new trade deal with the locals, but to no avail. Finally, they allowed the corsairs to start their usual efforts, putting to use the growing height of their ships. At first, they harassed the fishers, then landed on the island itself. The tribe was ready to fight for what was theirs, but the cruelty they faced outmatched them. The kidnappings made the locals afraid to leave their walls, and then the raids enslaved whole hamlets or burned many crucial structures. Using traps, that's important, and their knowledge of the terrain, the tribe managed to kill more than they lost. But the corsair ships kept coming, always led by new, yet even more experienced captains. After a few bloody battles, the forest fires started, and the locals understood they had little time before the wrath of the herds would trample them to death. We are the 8th generation of the tribe living here, so close to coast yet so far from it, she ends a tale. Taming to new grounds was harsh, and once the first children born in these tunnels started breeding, only a fifth of the tribe was still here to welcome him. Why won't your tribe try to reclaim the island? The root of our torment survived to plague, to invasion and disasters, are known only to oldest tales. Guyane grabs a few small bones from the fabric beneath her and starts to roll them between the palms of her hands. We have no strength to fight it, no hope to defeat it, but we can wait in humbleness and hope the spirits will turn their face away once our enemies come to him for help. Cephas rests his hand on his side. Returning would anger the herds and cost us dearly. Yet, after 2 generations, once the walls and children grow strong, he looks at an infant being fed by the fire. The corsairs will once again bring torches and chains, for our right allows them to murder freely. He utters the soul carrier's name with disgust. Leading our tribe to our homeland is to dream of every chief and every shaman, but it's a dream of the prideful. Is the island dangerous? Cephas shrugs. As dangerous as the wildest woods and hills. Its roads are no more, and spiders and ape men now live in our houses. The city folk who tried to take our lands may still be there, walking shells without souls, but after so much time, they likely went after blood onto mainland. Alright, so everything I wanted to ask. You have any useful equipment to sell? The roads are dangerous. The chief scoffs. Why? Do you have something we may want? We don't have dragon bones, don't trade, and we need what we have. We have more horns than we need, the shaman chips in. And after a bit of a pause, Cephas agrees. We could barter for it. Our guards and scouts use horns of many beasts, but there's one type we don't use anymore. The warhorn, Guyane adds ominously, roars like a dragon. Chief smirks. That's right. Most beasts flee when they hear it, but can't show you how it sounds here. We'd go deaf. Can I see it? Ah, when blown it imitates the roar of an enormous creature. Barter! You look at the horn and think of the things you could offer the tribe. How about a brand new battle axe? We need no more blades, starts Guyane, but Cephas gestures for her to wait. Let me take a look. If the Roadwarden describes it lightly, a weapon such as this is a gem well worth a loud horn. She rolls her eyes but says nothing. You can see outside. Finishing the transaction takes a good few minutes since you have to get Shadowmane, show Cephas what you have, Guyane refuse to join you, then return to the cave. Once the Saurine rider takes your gift, the other locals discuss their new possession enthusiastically. Nice! I've got a horn. The roads in the West Ground are dangerous as they struggle with bandits. You know what? See what they have to say about this. Cephas hesitates, selecting the words carefully. Scouts saw their deeds, yes, but it won't reach us, and we've nothing to gain from fighting them. Gaia nods in agreement. Even though there's sadness to her voice, souls and tribes come and go, but the woods abide. For 10 years now, we have let the lowlanders keep to themselves. I'd like to learn more about your village. The shaman leans forward smiling. The fire plays with a shadow. And how? In your tongue? Without crossing our tunnels, or ploughing our fields, or battling to snowcaps, or making a cut ball with our elders? She gestures you to take a glance at the huts, the spears and the rocks beneath her. We've our own seasons, trades and legends. Spirits guide us through our dreams and to unders. Children learn stories older than emperors. As she grows more passionate with every word, the chief observes her with a smile. He reaches for his sword, observing the dark scabbards covered with a fancy pattern of squares. If we were a tribe of 10 cities, you'd like to hear at we dig for ore, grow crops, hunt. We lack some things, but we have others in abundance. But we accept that we accept what we get, and want to open the gates to no merchants or blood we can't trust. Who's the decision maker in the village, the chief or the shaman? The village decides for the village, Sepha smiles. In the tribe, a chief worries about the things of today, and shout out the things of past and tomorrow. Gaian looks in with respect. The Tara harvest of the season, she says solemnly, but taste like ashes without memories and hopes. She points at all the bones and pebbles beneath her, as if they're meant to explain it all. A quiet tune plays from the opposite end of the chamber in an attempt to calm a young child. What kind of person is Asterion? A shell lost on its path to nowhere. Gaian stares into your eyes, a soul torn by its dreams, a word spoken to no one. The chief frowns but doesn't add anything. I have more questions about High Island. Okay, can't say anything else. What do you think about Hovelvin? We don't. Cephas's voice is cold. And when Gaian chips in, she hands you a soft, though heavy pouch. Inside you find a collection of dozens of red crystals, each one smaller than a game die. Tuh. City's corsairs pillaged our homelands for years, saying A would stop once we agreed to pay to yearly tribute. A murdered us and torched our harvests and crops, for we held to island before him and prayed to different spirits. You return the pouch and ask what the meaning behind it. The shamans of old made a tomb with one rock for every soul lost to 10 cities. They brought an heir to help us remember. I don't want to say this one, but I really want to keep talking to them. I was expecting the mountain to be more green. We are of it, but it's not on it. Cephas glanced at the flames. The green mountain is on High Island. Gaian's voice becomes more melodic, even though she pauses when she says a few more of the unique words out loud. The volcano in the very centre. Around it our fields were growing like a cud in no other soil of the north. Every few lifespans, lava turned to ashes. Towards it feeds, but these ashes gave birth to sweetest fruits and heaviest grain. Alright, see you later. So, the sounding light helps you leave the cave. Oh shoot, I can sleep here. So, there's nothing else I can do here. Alright. Your sleep gets distorted by the foul smell coming from your bundles. Got rotting fish, sure. Enjoy the fertilizer I've just given you. Right. Interesting. I think I'm going to call it here. I think we have to deal with Steep House and Howler's Dell at some point. I don't know if we're going to do it next time, but it might be in the next episode. I might head back here. I kind of want to go back to this nest as well. I kind of want to ask about it. I really want to get into the favour of the tribe of the Green Mountain. I'd love for them to give me permission to go to the High Island, because I think I'm going to go there. And if that is the case, and we do that, I think I basically go to High Island and then I end the game. I go straight back to Pelton North and then leave. I think that is my task. There is a part of me as well that's considering just if I can't get the permission, just leaving and just taking what I've got. But I feel like that would be a bit of a shame for the game to end. And we obviously have to go down this center path. I think in order, I think we're going to check this nest out again next time. I'm slightly worried that this nest might be good for them, but I don't know. We still don't really know what this giant's helping us with either. Maybe this is something on the High Island. I think it's this I deal with, as in like the Green Mountain stuff, the nest. Howler's Dell, and then I think once I've dealt with all that and whatever comes from the steep house, I think then I just plot a course through the center of the map and just see what it's actually like in here. And hopefully that can help me finish off the Gale Rocks quest. I'd love to raid the monastery, but I just don't see any way of doing it at the moment, and Old Pagos just seems closed at all times. Anyway, that'll do it for this episode. If you enjoyed it, why not leave a like, comment, subscribe, everything helps me out, and I'll see you on the next part. Goodbye.